This is a reaction video to ABC News 10, which is in San Jose, which is the center of all this. Maybe I should tell you the story about a little short review of what happened with the San Jose women's volleyball team. Basically, Boise State and then other schools right after them in the Mountain West Conference after determined that they would not field playing games where it's either one or two. I think it's two of them, but one of them is the star. Trans players on the San Jose team, they would not compete against them. So they forfeited all their games. And they appealed to try to get in the playoffs, a couple of them, but they were struck down by the NCAA, incredibly. Because now the NCAA has gone the other way and agreed with the presidential ban on men and women's sports. Okay, so there's two issues here. Can the president ban it? He probably can. Can he withhold money? I don't think so. But I think he can ban it. So it's a funny situation. Maybe the court will recognize it. I told you last video what I think will happen. But this video is to react to the news story, which was really the request of my students at San Jose State to react to this story that's on the news. And I just took their local channel. It was it's pretty fair and balanced, but there's some things that are said in there I think I need to react to. And I will actually react to while it's playing.
Is sending shockwaves through the world of high school and college athletics.
I'll say.
Yesterday, President Trump issued an executive order banning transgender women and girls from college women's and high school girls' sports teams. Schools that disobey this order risk losing federal funding. So we asked, how is California responding? President Trump's executive order issued Wednesday says in recent years, many educational institutions and athletic associations have allowed men to compete in women's sports. This denies women and girls the equal opportunity to participate and excel in competitive sports. I
don't have a problem with that statement. It is unfair competition. 80% of you probably agree. I mean, you can pick things to get mad at the president. A lot of you can't stand him. I get it. And you really hate him. I don't hate anybody, but I've heard that. And you think he's racist, sexist, all that. I get it, but let's try to step back and be objective. Would you want your daughter competing against these, I guess you call them trans women, who have an XY chromosome? These are muscled, strong individuals. And remember, men's bones are men's bones. They're different than women's bones. Men and women are different. And probably what's behind all this is that that's something that don't think it is. Yeah, I agree. Let's keep the men out of women's sports. Just to keep it fair is the first reason. Let's continue.
Men, Trump is referring to transgender women and girls.
Kids should have the right to play with their friends.
Yes, I agree. Kids should have the right to play with their friends, but it should be fair. And again, I'm going to say it again. Any Christian person or any person that holds animosity toward transgender individuals and doesn't want to treat them at fair and be tolerant of them. You don't have to approve it to be tolerant. Jesus was tolerant and approved prostitutes and sinners, the Bible says. But this is not about that. Tolerance doesn't mean you have to approve it, and doesn't mean you have to go against your friends, students. We're hearing this at all schools. You can have friends that are transgender if you'd like. That's fine. They're probably, some of them are nice people, probably need your love and support. But this is not that issue. People try to say that because I'm a church person, I hate trans. It's nothing to do with that. It's everything to do with fairness. Let's continue.
Regardless of the sex or the gender.
Alexis Sanchez with the Sacramento LGBT Community Center says Trump's executive order is disappointing.
It is seeking to erase transgender people.
Citing Title IX of the Education Amendments Act of...
Wait a minute, did she say he wants to erase them? Go back and look at what the thing actually said he wrote. He's not trying to erase them. And then what about the NCAA? They came right after him and agreed. Are they trying to erase transgenders, or do they want to erase them out of sports with women? No one is trying to erase transgenders.
1972, Trump is ordering enforcement actions be taken against schools that require female students to compete with or against or to appear unclothed before males, saying any.
See, that's the part to me that bothers me. These trans women can have their parts still and undress in front of women. I'm sure they wouldn't have had the surgery and be playing sports. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's true. These are men who are chemically reduced by hormones, the amount of certain things in their system that then brings them below some kind of international standard. And before the NCAA had said they could play against women. I think that's what it's about. I mean, there are a lot of states that are going to be doing soul searching now that California, maybe they'll just wait and see what happens with California. But this is the part that bothers me most, the locker room.
K-12 school or college disobeying this risks losing federal funding.
These trans sports bans are based in transphobia.
Last month, according to The Athletic, National Collegiate Athletic Association President Charlie Baker said at a congressional hearing that of the more than 500,000 college athletes across the nation, fewer than 10 publicly identify as transgender. In a statement responding to Trump's executive order, Baker said, "We strongly believe that clear, consistent, and uniform eligibility standards would best serve today's students."
How's that wrong? He said only 10 athletes that are transgender in the thousands that play, out of the thousands that play. And how's this statement wrong? Clear and concise, right? Consistent and uniform standards.
Student athletes. To that end, President Trump's order provides a clear national standard, adding the NCAA is reviewing the executive order and will take necessary steps to align NCAA policy in the coming days. The California Interscholastic Federation, CIF, which governs high school sports in the state, is taking another approach, saying they comply with California law, which permits students to participate in athletic teams and competitions consistent with the student's gender identity, irrespective of the gender.
This is the state law. I was just thinking that maybe there's going to be some challenges if a transgendered athlete competes against women. Maybe it'd be a state court challenge. You know, we want to follow the federal law. But I think it would lose in court. I think the state would win, but they could then appeal it. Somehow it's going to get to the Supreme Court to decide on this. And I told you in the last video what I think is going to happen.
Gender listed on the student's records.
There will be constitutional challenges.
Constitutional expert Leslie Jacobs is Anthony Kennedy Professor of Law at University of the Pacific's McGeorge School of Law. We asked her if Trump has the power to take away school funding, since Congress has the so-called power of the purse.
Congress is the one who appropriates money for particular purposes. Okay, the president then implements the law, but he is required to spend the money that Congress appropriates.
So what you could have to solve all this is the Congress, which is right now controlled by one party, could just pass a law backing the executive order, and then this all will be over. Then they could withhold funds. We might be headed in that direction rather than only the court. And then it'll be a question of whether Congress can do it legally, and then the court might just say, we're not going to get involved in that. The law was passed. Usually the court doesn't like to overturn a written law unless there's something wrong with it. So I think it's going to come back. And I know she, you know, I guess I agree with her that it's kind of messy, but we'll see where it goes.
One of the statutes that Congress has written is Title IX, which says no discrimination in educational institutions that receive federal funds. And so the focus of the trans athlete executive order is an interpretation of Congress's statute.
Correct. One side says it's discrimination to let them play, Trump people, I guess, The other side says it's discrimination to not let them play. So this will be very interesting, but we'll see.
What the meaning of sex discrimination is.
She anticipates this will be
What is
challenged
sex
all the way up to the
discrimination?
U.S. Supreme Court.
Now, already, just today, the U.S. Department of Education announced it's investigating 2 universities and an athletic association for reports of them allowing trans women on female sports teams. One of those schools is San Jose State University for
And that's significant because of what I told you about San Jose State.
allegedly allowing a trans woman onto the volleyball team. And according to a new poll from the New York Times, few Americans think transgender female athletes should be allowed to compete.
Well, there you go. 80%, almost 80% say that these trans women should not be allowed. We're going to change. See, that's the thing I think a lot of people are missing at post-election. There were some clear things that were issues that caused the election to go the way it did. And it's almost like you need to pick your issues here. 80% of the country. How's that going to go over electorally in 2 years? When you are against something that 80% of the country agrees with. So the leaders in California, I bet within California, most California voters, I don't know if it's 80%, I doubt it. But I bet most California voters don't want to see women on men on women's teams. Let's finish up.
In women's sports. Of more than 2,100 people surveyed, 79% said they should not be allowed to compete. 18% said they should. The remaining people surveyed did not answer the question.
When your gut feels off, your whole day can feel off. Activia probiotic yogurts and dailies are a quick, easy.
Sorry for the glitch, but I think you got my point on that. Again, if you like the video, please click like, subscribe if you want to see more like it. Your comments are always welcome below. Look in the description block. I'll give you a copy of this video. I think I might have did the last one. I'm not sure. And another article about it I'd like you to have and read that discusses this issue from CNN. All right. God bless you. Hope that was clarified things for you. Bye-bye now.